Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Last video I posted had to do with me trying to improve my screw caddy. I mean, the original was, quite adequate, and I didn't really have any major issues with it. But I thought I had a few ideas that were definitely improvements on it, so I designed and put that together. And the next step in that is to make the acrylic drawers, which means I'm going to have to do a fair amount of welding. And I don't mind this camera angle for welding, though I usually use my other portable desk for that. But I thought it might be better to have an overhead view so that you're actually right there and you can see how the wicking works and how all the various aspects of the welding are performed. And to that end, I decided what I needed was an improved way of recording that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a overhead a holding system for my camera, and also a steady base. So that first piece you saw me cut, which just is a 2x2 piece of 1/2 inch hardwood ply. These are just pine. I just want to make arms for this, and I don't want the arms to interfere with any amount of light getting in here, so I want it as open and have as much access as possible from all sides. Now, before I usually do anything, this is something I actually was planning on putting on as a secondary video, just a little short one. I never drill or adjust the actual project I'm working on right off the bat. What I do is I take a little piece of wood like this, and I set it all up, and then I, set it so that I think this is where I want all the holes to go or whatever I am cutting, and then I have a look at it and see if it actually suits what I want. If it's not going to split the wood, or in this particular case, it's too close together, that sort of thing. And I find it has saved me an awful lot of money over the years because, obviously I do all the fiddling around with and testing things out on a piece of scrap. And like I said, I wanted to put a little short video together about that and have that as a separate thing for people to see, but I've been very busy at work, and I just didn't have the time to make it separate. So you guys get to see it here, and it is something I always do. The other thing I do to save money is I'll often, especially in that first clip you saw there, is I will mark where I want the holes to go, or in that particular case where I want the cut to be, and then I'll cut outside that and gradually move into where I want it. So especially if I have something that's going to be like a friction fit, it's simpler that way than not, like cutting it and it's just a shade underneath. A shade over is easy to get, obviously to cut down. So I'm going to drill all these. This is a Forstner bit, which is just a hair bigger than the head on the screws I'm going to be using. Originally, I thought what I was going to do is I was going to set all this up, and then instead of screwing everything together, I was going to use dowels and then make it collapsible. You'll see in a little bit here why I decided not to do that. The arms, they had to be very, very solid. They can't have any wiggle to it, and I want the camera, obviously it's going to be overhead, to be as steady as possible, because if anything's shaking in this, it will just completely ruin the video. So initially I'm going to start off here. I mean, this is my mini bench, and it is actually ideal for this. The only reason why there's a clamp in the corner there is this is pine, and it has a little bit of give as far as its trueness is concerned. So I wanted everything as tight and as square as possible when I put this together, because like I said, the next step, what I wanted to do so this thing would be collapsible, would be to just use dowels. Just put dowels through and of course glue them into place on the base, and then this would just simply fit over on top of it. And I thought, well, that should be sturdy enough. Turns out it's not. Once I built all these together and I got them all screwed, I mean, these are really secure. This is actually a very good way of making your frame if you want to do it. I know it's not what I usually do, which is to use dowels and glue and everything, but this is very solid, and of course it has the benefit of being very fast. So forgive me for doing it this way, but like I said, it is, I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time on this project. This project was something I just wanted to do so I can film the other project, and like I said, there's not a whole lot of spare time, so I didn't want to like spend too much time doing this, and you can see how quick it goes together. This is not something that you have to spend hours putting together, and then of course allow the glue to set and all that sort of stuff. So it's very quick and easy. That's nice thing I also like about I'm obviously drilling the holes for the screws so I don't split any wood. The nice thing about Forstner bits is they have that little point right in the middle at the initial impact where the drill bit goes in, and it's a perfect spot, and it's very good for making sure that I get in the center of the holes for putting in these screws. Don't want them off a little bit. If it's off a little bit to the side, you could end up putting enough pressure on the side that you end up splitting. Again, this is just pine. I don't want to spend any money on this either, which is the reason why I'm using pine. I mean, it comes out nice and smooth and easy and square, and that's all I really needed. I suppose the squareness is not really that important. The only thing that really matters here is that it's solid and not going to have much in the way of wiggle to it. Now this is the top piece. This is going to be the nest where the camera is going to sit. And you can see at the beginning of this, there was, well, between all these four, I mean, all four of these joints were held in the same way, but you can see there was a bit of deflection in the final one there. And that is something I want to get out. So I just want to show you that part because it is pine, like I said, and it is somewhat warped. Not terribly warped, but it does have things that you have to take care of, and that's why this setup like this, making sure that everything's nice and true and solid. Like I said, just to cut down on any kind of vibrations or shakiness I'm going to get at the top of this process where the camera is going to sit, which is going to be right here, of course. So I'm just going to screw these together, and then I didn't want, I mean, obviously I'm going to be careful when I'm doing this, but like I said, there's going to be a platform in here, and I didn't want it to, in case I bumped it or whatever, have the camera, which is my phone, slide off and land. I mean, it's a 2-foot drop. It is only on wood, but I didn't really want to risk any chance of it getting damaged. So I'm going to put 2 cross pieces on this. This is going to be way more square and way more secure to hold up a phone than is even remotely necessary. So this is the part where I thought what I was going to do is I was going to use dowels. So what I've started off doing here is have my old dowel. I haven't made the new one yet. I meant to pick up the brass for it, but again, like I said, I was very busy at work. So I'm just using the old one. It doesn't need to be very accurate. You see I'm using just a block of wood just so they're relatively the same. And yeah, just putting a 1/4-inch bit through this, and then I cut all the dowels and put all the dowels in place, and then did a dry assembly of this. And yeah, it was way too wobbly. I wanted to be able to take it, the whole purpose of this, of course, is to be able to take it down and have it so that I can store it much more easily. As you see, this is a big 2x2x2 cube, and well, it's going to take up a lot of space, and unfortunately there's just no way around it. Like I said, I tried to make this collapsible. I thought about using hinges and a few other things, but again, time is a little short on this. I just want to get it done, and the best thing to do is just to glue it all together. As you can see, here comes my supervisor. He comes by all the time, checks things out what I'm doing. Obviously only when I'm not using the machines. He doesn't like the sound, which is good because I don't want him getting used to that. And yeah, he just comes and checks things out. Fortunately or unfortunately, at some point here in the next few seconds of this video, I will have to pause the video and shoo him away because I don't want him getting any glue in his fur or anything as well. So I think it's coming up right about now. Anyway, so yeah, it's just a matter of gluing these all in place. I mean, it's what I would do anyway for any other dowel project I was doing that doesn't require being disassembled. And like I said, at that point in this project, I had given up on that completely. And after having a look at the end product and its stability, I was very happy I decided to go this way. It is, like I said, not something where you want any kind of mobility in where the camera is going to sit. Now, as you can see, right now it's nice and stable for where the camera's. I mean, what I do is I have a gimbal I put together, and it is attached to the well, the floor joist above, so that's nice and stable. And like I said, I could have probably made a new gimbal for this, but this is quicker and easier, I think, and it is, I'm pretty sure, going to be a lot more stable. And the other nice thing about it is it's going to have a set distance that it's going to be. So I'll know once I figure out some of the ins and outs of actually using it. I'll know what magnification to set the phone at, and I'll get consistent shots that way. There's probably some other stuff I'm going to have to make for this. Little things, little stands and whatnot to hold everything where it needs to be. But I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to require any kind of major effort. And like I said, once this is all in place and set, this is the only time I actually had to wait for something to cure. Everything else, this so far, by the way, is almost pretty much all done in one day. I think I had to take a break for work or something, but that's about it. I mean, it didn't take long. This is where the camera is going to sit on this little platform, and what I'm doing here is just obviously just drilling a hole, and it's going to be where I'll be able to set it and, of course, do my recording. And yeah, it's just very straightforward. It's just a hole saw, and I'm flipping it over just so I don't have any tearaways as it goes through. I do put a piece of block wood underneath. I think it's just a 2x4, and it does prevent that for the most part, but it's much easier just to do this when you just flip it over like this, and it comes out really nice and clean. Again, no real need for this. It's just something I want to make it look at least reasonable. So here we go, getting near the end of the project, and then because I was all in that whole in for a penny, in for a pound thing, I had already used so many screws in this, it didn't really matter. I decided just to quickly drill some holes here for the screws, put some 1-inch screws in here, again with the flatheads. Again, the nice thing about using this style of screw with the flat instead of the angled or beveled head to them, it gives a nice firm grip on it, and because the Forstner bits give a nice flat hole on the hole that they set up. There's next to no danger of splitting anything. So there you go. That's all set. That's going to sit on the top of this. And yeah, it's going to, again, just set up where I want to drill the holes. Use the Forstner bits to give me my, well, all I'm doing here in this particular case, I mean, the originals, like for the framing itself, I went down a fair ways to make sure that I had enough threads on the inside bit. But in this particular case, all that matters is that I have the head so it's countersunk. I don't want it showing, proud of the hole, just in case I decide at some point in time in the future to, cap these, just to hide the fact that I'm using screws. I mean, this is just really silly to tell you the truth. But anyway, I've been using dowels on other joints so much lately that it does seem weird to just use a Forstner bit and some flathead screws. I mean, anyway, it's obviously not important. No one's ever going to see this but me, and I'm going to, obviously get a lot of use out of it. As you can see in the background, I have, a great many fish tanks, and this will actually come in really handy for that as well, whereas I can hold stuff for various cultures and other stuff that I'm doing, and whenever I want a close-up, and that is, something I have to keep in mind as well. There you go, the last few screws. Again, they're the flathead ones, just so I have a nice firm grip. And obviously, because I'm holding a phone up, this is massive overkill, but as it turns out, well, proof will be when I first do the first video for this, which will be me putting those drawers together. I'm hoping and I expect that it's going to be nice and stable. So there you go. I'm just going to turn this up to the right, give you a look at it, and that's pretty much the project. It turned out, like I said, nice to look at, ish. I will probably do a bit of oil on this to protect the wood, and that's it. Thanks for watching. Leave comments, let me know what you think about it, and I'll see you in the next video, and bye for now.